Vincent, we're seeing markets, they've been taking a hit here in the U.S., the Dow, the NASDAQ, all dropping. There are a whole series of problems in Cyprus, in Greece, in Spain today. First, how are traders reacting to all of this?
Cyprus isn't that big an issue, to be honest. It's very small. I think it's, Cyprus, when you have issues in Greece, Cyprus is kind of a foregone conclusion. So I think Cyprus realistically was written off a little while ago. Greece, again, is sort of the next step. I think we've kind of bypassed Greece. There's finance ministers being ill. It's almost the job hazard of being a politician in Greece today. It's not too healthy an environment. The markets are still focused on Spain. Spain is the big issue. They've formally requested a bailout sum. That sum has not yet really been told to the market as to what they've actually asked for. Question is, do they lowball it and try to make themselves look a little better, or do they go for the full 100 billion that the EU has proposed?
And we didn't really get many details on the Spanish piece of this today. That was just a request that formally went to the Europeans.
It's something that's realistically, to some extent, it's being imposed upon them. Prime Minister Rajoy would have much preferred the ECB go on to reenact the bond buying program, buying Italian and Spanish debt, maintaining the lower interest rates across Europe, and just giving them a little bit more political strength within country, but the ECB would have none of that. So.
And there seemed to be some resistance from the Europeans to even allow Cyprus to request this bailout. It's obviously a tiny, tiny country. They didn't want to create this headline about a fifth European country requiring a bailout.
Yeah,
right?
And I think it was more a headline, like you say, than anything else. I mean, it just is what it is. It's we continue to deal with Europe as if this were a liquidity crisis, when it is a crisis of debt. It's a crisis of sovereign, not liquidity, but rather what will be delinquency as we go down this road, and just throwing money at it in terms of, like, say, borrow more is not really going to solve the problem.
Right. And we saw this build up to Greece. Everybody's been waiting for some kind of action with Greece. They had the election last week, and now we're at the point where we don't have a functioning prime minister. He had eye surgery. The finance minister had stomach problems, and he's gone now. And there's a big European summit at the end of the week. Where does this leave them? If everyone's looking for the European summit, where are we by the end of the week?
The interesting thing about the summit is the comment last week by Monti, which basically said this is the last week to save the Eurozone.
Mario Monti is the Italian Prime Minister.
He's putting a lot of pressure. He's almost doing a reverse of what the EU did to people like Papademos, who was the Prime Minister of Greece last year, which is, you have to follow our rules or you won't get any more money. Monti's almost basically putting the pressure back and saying, we're done with the rules now, you just have to give us the more money and, like, do something. Where's this bazooka to save the Eurozone? It was an interesting article in German press over the weekend that said the German finance ministry had secret plans or a study to see what would happen to the German economy if they left the Eurozone. And it was something like German unemployment would rise to 10%, and the German finance ministry completely just squashed that and said, we have no such, this is all rumor, we have nothing of the sort. But it speaks to, I think, the man on the ground now. The popular opinion in Germany has turned, whereas the average citizen is anti-Euro. And somewhere along the line, somebody's trying to get this back out there in the mainstream, saying, let's bring this thought process back in, that Germany needs the Euro. We can't really survive without it. And, just trying to change public opinion.
So where does this leave us all with, on the other side of the Atlantic, all watching this? People seem to have discounted any possibility of a big bang solution at the end of this week. Are traders looking past this to the next summit after this?
I'm not so sure we're going to give them one more, to be honest. I mean, I kind of agree with the Prime Minister of Italy. This one is really pretty significant. I mean, they really need to come up with some real concrete solution. The patience is beginning to wane in terms of what they can do. As far as it leaves us on this side of the pond, it leaves us not really addressing our own individual problems and missing the real economic problems in the U.S. But the real fire right now is in Europe, and that's the first fire to put out. I'm not sure. I think if they come away from this weekend with absolutely nothing, I think traders will put a lot of downward pressure on both the equity markets and the euro to see what will come of it.